Hello students, I Dr. Anuradha Karmarkar welcome you all to my lecture series on Total Quality Management. In today's presentation we are going to discuss quality standards. Everyone wonders what do you mean by quality standards? Quality standards are defined as documents that provide requirements, specification, guidelines, or characteristics that can be used consistently to ensure that materials, products, processes, and services are fit for their purpose. So, quality standards are nothing but simple documents which have the requirements and the guideline to follow quality in your establishment. Is it necessary to have quality standards by any organization? The answer would be yes, because organizations turn to standards for guidelines, definitions, and procedures that help them to achieve objective. And the objectives can be creativity enhancement, increasing efficiency, and of course improving quality. All the quality standards also help in achieving customer satisfaction. Not only that, quality standards ensure that the products and services are safe while they are being purchased. ISO helps in complying with regulations which are prescribed by regulatory authorities and law. ISO also helps protecting product against climatic or other adverse conditions. Therefore, ISO is important. It helps you in meeting environmental objective. For example, if you are practicing environmental management system or ISO 14000, it helps you in implementing green practices and enhances your sustainability. Quality standards also help you in internal processes, defining them and of course controlling them through law or regulations. When we talk about quality standards, we are basically talking about three standards here today, which are ISO 9000, ISO 14000, and HACCP. These quality standards can be implemented for any organization. HACCP, of course, is meant for food industry basically, but ISO and 14000, ISO 9000 and 14000 can be used by any establishment ready to go for it. What is ISO 9000? Let's talk about it. So, any organization who's asking how to improve the quality of their products and services and consistently meet their customers' expectations, ISO is the only answer. Many times we get confused when we define ISO as why it is not in international standard organization and why it is called as International Organization of Standardization, because they are the ones who have defined this quality standards. And ISO is independent and non-governmental organization made up of members from national standards bodies of over 160 countries, and they set international standards related to products and services for improving quality. So ISO 9000 one standard is a document, as we had discussed earlier, which describes all the requirements needed in order to create and maintain a quality management system as described in ISO 9000. So ISO 9000 describes quality management systems. As per ISO standards, there have to be 7 quality measures which have to be implemented and practiced by the organizations if they want to go for ISO certification. And these are customer focus. The focus of entire processes and the organization should be on external and internal customer. that is your customers and employees. Leadership plays a crucial role in ISO 9000 standards because policy decisions are taken at that level, and it will all depend on the leadership, how they want to implement quality in the organization. Engagement of people. ISO 9000 also talks about engagement of people, involving them, and of course recruiting people who would work for quality standards. ISO 9000 is purely a process approach. It comprises of series of activities which are done in order to complete a task given, and this is called as a process. So process has a great importance in ISO, and hence it has to be well defined, systematic, and at the same time controlled. Continual improvement is another focus of ISO. They believe that if you keep improving your systems and processes, you will be able to improve quality standards. In ISO 9000, the decisions are not based on anyone's whims and fancy. They are purely based on the evidence, and hence statistics data are crucial for decision making. And seventh concept or of quality standard is relationship management. ISO emphasizes the relationship of the organization not only between the employees but also all the stakeholders of the business. Why do we have to go for ISO certification is the common question which can be asked by any organization. When we go for ISO certification, has to be a reason. Let's look at them. Clear understanding of the objectives and the new business opportunities available for the business. Unless you have objectives, you will not be able to move in the correct directions. Identifying and addressing the risks associated with the organization. When we define processes, we are also addressing the risk and identifying them so that we can take corrective action to eliminate such risks. Through ISO, it helps in emphasizing on customers' importance. Every time the focus has to be customer. Meeting the necessary statutory and regulatory requirement is also a requirement of ISO 9000. So when you are planning any processes, you make sure that you abide with rules and regulation so that there cannot be anything wrong as a process. ISO also helps in organizational and process alignment in order to increase productivity and efficiency. ISO certification is something which organizations look forward to, but it's not an easy task. Anyone cannot achieve ISO certification until and unless they demonstrate the following in order to get the certification. So what are the requirements? That company follows the guideline within the ISO 9001 standard. The company meets its own requirements. The company meets its customers' requirement, and of course statutory and regulatory requirement, and the company maintains documentation of its performance. Once we look at ISO, let's look at what is EMS. EMS, as discussed, stands for Environmental Management System. So ISO 9000 focuses on quality management system, whereas ISO 14001 focuses on environmental management system. So the green practices which are used and implemented by the organization falls under this category of EMS. ISO 14001 has become the international standard for designing and implementing an environmental management system. The standard is published, of course, by ISO. It's an international body, as we have already discussed it. that creates and distributes standards that are accepted worldwide. Almost everyone in the country is now following EMS. The most recent version of Environmental Management System requirement was published in 2015 and hence is referred to as ISO 14001 2015. 14001 represents standard whereas 2015 represents the year of revision. There are more than 3 lakh certification to ISO 40001 in almost 171 countries around the world. So that shows how important it is for the organization to go for EMS or ISO 14001 certification. Let's look at the importance factors which makes it so crucial. Taking care of environment has become the need of an hour, and preventing our company from causing negative impact on the environment, and of course to enhance the sustainability, we have to go for EMS. One of the biggest benefits of implementing EMS is the recognition that comes with being among those businesses that care enough to reduce their environmental footprint. And there's a bring better relationship with the customer. Customer starts believing in your organization. The public and the community at large have some concern about your company that you take care of the environment. EMS is also important for the organization as it improves your image and credibility. Improving image and credibility is because you are taking care of your environment while you are doing business. It improves cost control because when you practice environmental friendly practices, usually they help us in reducing the cost by saving energy and effective utilization of resources. So ultimately it improves cost control. Use evidence-based decision making. As ISO, even EMS is based on data and statistics, and therefore all the decisions are based on evidence and not haywire. It creates a culture of continual improvement, which is the necessity for the quality standard. And engage your people, which means that people would like to be part of any program which you design in order to protect environment, and they would like to be part of that organization who care for the environment. So the key points of this presentation, what we have done today is that ISO 9000 is a quality standard by the International Organization of Standardization, that is ISO. It can be applicable to any organization offering products and services provided you meet the requirement and the guideline of ISO standards. It focuses on processes and internal and external customer completely. And the overall purpose of ISO or EMS is nothing but quality improvement. For this presentation, I have used several references. Isaac Clarke 2018 has published Manual of ISO 9000. So American Society for Quality Manual has been referred for the information which is presented in the presentation, and of course Google Images which are used to enhance the presentation. With this we come to an end of the presentation. We hope that it was informative, and thank you so much for patiently attending and listening to the presentation. So quality is important for us and for the organization. Students, do not forget to solve the quiz. The quiz link is given. You can log in and solve the quiz online. Till then, thank you so much. Have a nice day.